my way when you see me. I'm rolling with the LGBT. Fuck out my way when you see me. I'm rolling with the LGBT. I'm rolling with the LGBT.
I'm rolling with the LGBT. Hello and welcome back. Yeah. You're probably wondering why I interrupted this video, why I'm suddenly wearing black. Well, it's because my guru made a funny video saying that people who have cheat replacements, when they're malice, they wear black. So I'm like, bam!
Dressing in a all black, otherwise they can have a multicolored outfit on them.
Now I'm evil. Now I'm evil. The reason I'm interrupting this video is because at the time of this video being posted, the time of birth of one of the actors, Hudson Williams, was lovingly incorrectly reported. And so I took the video down quickly because I didn't want anyone to get confused or to say that the things in it was incorrect or get, upset, anything like that. And because I would rather than just redo it with a fixed situation. So instead, I took it down. And then I went ahead and got the new birth time. And I want to give a small shout out also to one of my subscribers. Hello, Angela Diva. I told you this is going to happen. And this is your moment, girl. This is your moment, girl. She sent me an email unprompted with the actual birthplace of the other actor, Connor Storie, because nobody knew. This detective found where the article, an article that directly depicted the truth from his grandmother about where he was born. And I double checked it and it's totally correct. So we now have updated birth information for both actors. Claps, go claps, go claps. And I am so happy to report also, we're going to laugh. A lot of the information from the last video is still going to prove true. I was talking to my friend and she said to me, I should leave the video up because it was so helpful and has so much information. And now you're wondering why I'm dressed like a Black Veil Bride member. The truth is that a lot of the information would be me repeating myself because the shift of birth times for Hudson Williams moved a lot of the placements from his 6th house of work into his 10th house of work. So the same stories prove accurate just because of the shift in house placements. Maybe a few things here and there change up. So I thought the best way to handle this redux would be instead for me to include videos that were from the last video and then now go over it again with new eyes in this new outfit with me wearing my mea culpa hat, which if you don't know is actually Italian for I'm sorry. So this is a little indicative of me in the pink. When you see me in the pink, you know that it's an old video. You know that I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that it was the wrong birth times. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. Yes, I learned that from that good old-fashioned Catholic upbringing. Yes, in the New York City greater area. Yes, at the height of Catholicism. Yes. Ha, 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 ha. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. And I just want to remind everyone that I'm still learning. While I have been doing astrology since I was 13 years old, and I am a long way from 13. I am still, however, learning. I don't know everything. I thought I really want to underline that. I'm going to be doing Connor Storie and Hudson Williams, but I'm going to be very specific to be very, very, very respectful for a number of reasons. One, we really don't know these people, and this is their job. I really want to make that clear. This is their job that we're looking at right now. Why did the two of them work so well? If you don't know these two have now blasted into international fame.
Backshotting, a little horny little This is what this is doing to people. Hi, I'm Hudson Williams, and I play Shane Hollander in Heated Rivalry.
And I was waiting for mine. And my name is Connor Storie, and I play Ilya Rozanov.
From the overnight sensation TV show Fujoshi Yaoi romance moment called Heated Rivalry on HBO, where these two play hockey players that are on opposing teams that end up basically falling for each other. And it's in the early aughts, which I was alive for. So these men written by women are giving back to the people of Rome. We've wanted romance, real authentic romance for so long. And this is the closest thing we're going to get, especially because it's gay. I'm like, you know what? She can stay. Diva can stay. Diva can stay. So why did these two work so specifically well? I want to look together now today at their charts about why this combination, you got to admit, the electricity is the two of them. The two of them I've watched the show now because before I was like, what are you all talking about? Everyone and their mother was talking about this show. So finally I sat down yesterday and watched it and I get it. Now I get it, Diva. Now I understand. And now I also want to say part of the reason I feel okay to talk about this is because, to be honest with you, between you, me, and the floorboards viewer, I'm also a professional actor. That's why I'm dressed like this. Because if you saw me on the streets, no, you didn't. No, you did not. Shh, keep quiet. No, you didn't. Do you understand? I have also a profile to keep cute. In the old version of this video, I mentioned that I work in New York and that I work in high profile. Guess who got called back to work in their high profile environment again? So for that reason, I'm going to be the same level of respectful for these two because, again, there's information in these charts that, with all due respect, you and I have no right to that kind of information. It's almost too much. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? You got to be really careful about who you give information about your birth chart to, viewer, because to be honest with you, there are things that I could just ascertain just from you telling me. Like if you were to tell me you're a stellium Capricorn, I say, girl, shh, keep that to yourself. So for this one today, I figured let's just go ahead and be respectful and look at their jobs and about why these two work so well. So without further ado, I know you're chomping at the bit. I know you are. I know you are. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's go for it. Shall we go for it? The big one. So the ascendancy previously was guessed to be just about here. Now, you might say, oh, well, we hit the IC, so we did hit an angle. Ironically, we did touch upon, we guessed an angle correctly. And it also was, I think he self-reported this, so he might have been off potentially by a few hours, but that's okay. He figured out what it actually is, and ended up in an almost perfect sextile to where it was. So indicates not all that different. So now the ascendancy is in Gemini. Oh, now I toyed with the idea of doing individual natal charts, but I thought to myself, why torture it? These two are professional actors, that's the point, and they came from near obscurity. I know how that feels. To end up in a high-profile piece just because they ended up being selected with each other. They were right place, right time, right fit. Everything fell into the right situation. So I figured, you know what? These two catapulted each other into fame. So I think we would find out more from their combined synastry charts than from individual charts. So let's get started. Right off the bat, we know that the inside, hello, my pencil, SpongeBob reference. Here we go. So you know it's time. Is this actor Hudson, and the outside is Connor. I have to call them by their real names. And we do not have Connor's birth time, so we just have to go by what we see. Now, automatically, first thought, I'm seeing Hudson has a north node in the 11th house, which is about going to greater fame. So we already have an indicator off the chart just from looking at his chart alone that he was going to spring into further fame with that Rahu in the 11th house, which searches for fame, undeniably. And let's look at the north node amount, 13, so Aries, so his personal self in Cancer, ironically. So also could end up being something of like, could continue to play parents or these female womanly roles, or could end up being an equal parent himself, something that affects is like a feminine quality, nurturing quality. It moved from the 11th house of the wide realms on the edge, where we believed it to be a fame indicator, over here to the second house, which is actually just a moneymaker indicator. So instead of it being a fame indicator, now it's become a possessions indicator too, because you got to remember Cancer also rules homes, vehicles, possessions, so things inside homes and things and whatnot. And this is self-accumulation. So this aspect here with Rahu here indicates that there was issues with this in the past. So we move into a place where he understands where he needs to be, and maybe even becomes this parental figure that we talked about, that he seeks. Now, another thing that obviously jumps right out at me, just before I even look at the colors and everything in here, is this very stinky, very obvious, almost exact conjunction between Venus and Mars. Now, in Aries of the self, in Hudson's 9th house of gurus, higher learned people, intelligent people, mentors. So a Venus in that category would mean that not only would his personal partner be someone who's a bit of a guru who could stand alone, but also in this case, because of this exact conjunction, we are literally seeing that bottom and top dynamic play out in their charts. Ironically, because we see this is Hudson's Venus is directly on top of Connor's Mars. Making Connor,
as the rest of the show, I gained like 9 pounds of clappable material. So later on, you know, there's more meat for Ilya to rock, and he does. And I'm proud to be double cheeked up on whatever day of the week that was, and prone and boned.
Making Connor the phallic symbol, the male, and making Hudson the female. Their relationship. I think that when I saw that, I said, oh my gosh, shut up. And all of that in a perfect sextile. You see it, you see her, to these workhouse placements. Yes, the 6th house of work. Yes. And you see all these placements. All of these placements are being activated by these placements. Isn't that insane? These perfect sextile in a house of work for Hudson of Neptune and Lilith, Diva with Venus, and other Neptune and Ketu, Lord Jesus. So you remember the first time we watched this, we believed that these placements were playing out across the 7th house of partnership and the 6th house of work. Okay, that was no problem. And we considered the fact that these placements down in 5th would indicate what the short-term engagement might be about, because they are tied, as I said, in a sextile to these placements. So they tell the story together, right? You have to remember that they tell a story together. So we acknowledge that in the 9th house of Guru originally, with this original ascendancy, which is incorrect. I completely acknowledge this is incorrect. So with this in mind, we acknowledge, though, from that incorrect assessment, though, we got this much. We understood the tie of the bottom and top dynamic in the 9th house of Gurus. We understood there was some aspect there of indicating a higher-minded or elder or someone a little more experienced. The main event, all of that we had spoken about, Venus, Neptune, Ketu, with Lilith, Neptune, all remains exactly the same. And now it is just on the MC, which is the work indicator. So everything we said about work before goes double now. It just goes double because now it's in the wide world workhouse. So first of all, Lilith with Neptune. Lilith with Neptune is boundaryless in a lot of ways, because Lilith is the sex icon, is the divorced woman, is the scorned wife, the one who broke away from Adam in the original Jewish mythology fairy tale. Before Adam and Eve, there was Adam and Steve. No, I'm kidding. Before Adam and Eve, there was Adam and Lilith. And then Lilith said, nah, I'm not going to subjugate myself to a man, and broke away. And with Neptune here, you get that love feeling, and Venus. And meanwhile, you have Connor's Venus, so he adds an easing quality. And with Neptune right there, it's obsession, boundaryless. It's like when they met, it gives like Hudson gasp. He's like,
First impression of me, Sriracha Mayo,
Kimchi. Why are these all food related?
That you just gave me.
I just made.
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear.
Oh no,
he's hot!
The showrunner for Heated Rivalry said this, ready? After the audition, Hudson told him, the other guy was good, but Connor felt like he was going to pin me down and fuck me. Now, this is my impression of the girlfriend reading that. It's crazy, because the chemistry, you know, we go out a lot. No one's coming up to us and being like, I thought you guys were going to fuck each other here. You know what I mean? Like,
and in the house of work too, like, this is someone you met at work. That's Connor. Connor became a Venusian Neptunian. And remember, you got to remember, Neptune also rules arts, also rules cameras. And you're seeing all of these placements in the 6th house. So he's putting cameras and love of the cameras on these 6th house work placements of Hudson's. Remember, this is Connor, this is Hudson. So Connor quite literally is a magical boon to Hudson to create more of an easing quality in all of these aspects. Like, oh, the camera loves both of you. Like when you're together, it's electric. And that Lilith quality is that little bit of, ooh, it's a little bit of, that little bit of, because with Venus there, it's like very sexual, touchy, but also Lilith can feel calmed by these placements. I don't think Lilith is overwhelmed by Neptune and Venus here. I feel like that's like excellent blunt rotation, fabulous blunt rotation of spirits that would hang out.
I like the animal thing when you're like acting to use a bit of animal stuff, and then like in episode 2, the bathroom, I want it to be a little bit like a hungry coyote. I want Jane to be a little bit of like a coyote.
That was coyote,
like
when you had tears in your eyes.
Yeah, it was a hungry little like scrappy coyote that just wanted to hump, and he was in heat and just wanted to, you know, whimper away.
But humping in heat is you with tears in your eyes.
I wanted Jane to be a little coyote, you know, a little horny little mutt. Oh, Shane is the
Omega, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm crawling while there's mash up inside his guts.
Because they're all about love and art and self-expression and individuality, non-conformity. And Connor would bring out all of those qualities in Hudson. Does that make sense? He would make him more able to explore those Lilith qualities. He would make him feel more emboldened to say whatever you want, feel how you want. Like, and I also want to take this moment. I forgot to give this also in housekeeping. I also want to take this moment and say in this reading, I am absolutely under no circumstances going to be guessing or guesstimating about their individual sexualities. Not only do I not think it matters, I also think oftentimes when astrologers do shit like that, it feels incredibly like by erasure to me, because I'm just kind of like, as a person who is quite literally non-binary, myself, I identify, even though I don't care about the pronoun game personally, and as someone who is also bisexual, I am always confused by the aspect of other people. Are they gay? Are they gay? Are you gay? Diva, what if they were bi? Diva, maybe both. Who cares? Diva, it's not your business. You know what I mean? Are they doing their job or not? Are you going to meet these people and fuck these people? I didn't think so. Besides, another thing that always takes me out. People see actors like this do these roles and they think, oh, you must be gay. Girl, diva, I want to tell you something. There is no place on this earth that I have been hit on more than at the gay club, diva. Do you understand? There are bisexuals at the gay club too, diva. Yes. Hey, they're gay. They can never, like, maybe not you. I hate the guesstimation around it, because God forbid these people do their jobs. Because I used to have to deal with the same issue as an actor. And I hate the assumption that it's like goes one way or the other. That's how you need to do it. These are empathetic, artistic individuals. And notice how that's with South Node too. So Connor was born that way. Connor was always that way. And when Hudson meets him in this case, it gives him permission to be that way as well.
Hey everybody on YouTube. Hey, this is me, Connor Storie.
They make each other stars because they allow nonconformity. They encourage nonconformity. They appreciate nonconformity in each other in the celibate. And look, they got sun-sun conjunction. These two are way more spiritual twins than anything else. You might not, watcher, as a viewer, you might not look at these two and think about the fact that in reality they are very similar. But if you look at these placements, you'll see how much of them is a spiritual conjoined match.
He's like unabashed, he's bold, he's funny, yeah, all that, yeah, crazy. I get to just look at him the entire time. Zoom over there, let's watch him. I'm like, that's it. That man is crazy.
Oh my God. A sense of fun and play.
Whether it is that like sun placement, like Uranus placement with Mercury, so they'd be talking about it constantly. Venus was like Jesus. Venus loves the LGBTQ. Venus loves the people outside of the realm. Venus loves the disabled. Venus loves the nonconformist. Venus has love and capacity, especially with all these Neptune elements, because it's boundaryless love. I have love. That's very Jesus-like to me. The Venus Neptune is Jesus-like because it's also love for the drug addicts, love for the hurt, love for the poor, love for the sick, love, and sometimes also can lead to confusing boundaries though. So that's something about Connor that he needs to be aware of this. Ketu with boundaryless love is a little bit like slinging it a lot. So, and they can encourage that in each other, like exacting placement. I will say this now, for work, this would be fabulous placements because they would be able to speak so plainly to each other about how they feel and about what's bothering them, what's going on in their lives. They would show each other memes. It's giving, yo, look at this Twitter. Like these two are giving spiritual twins. Like,
I think of everything through sex now.
And love.
Nope, not for me. Just
Where's the love? Where's the love making? Why is it about butts getting destroyed and holes getting ruined? What about the caresses? Am I right, guys?
What about this back getting broken? What about some kitchen? Let's just bring some props in.
It's almost closer than a relationship partner because there's a likeness, there's a twin symbiosis here that is hard to ignore in these placements. Now, it is just on the MC, which is the work indicator. So everything we said about work before goes double now. It just goes double because now it's in the wide world work house. Sixth house, daily routines, daily people you see, small events, pets, husband, wife material, also enemies, day-to-day enemies. Now, the 10th house, the great wide world. Okay, it just shifted. So now all these placements exist in a place where he's in the workhouse, which also puts him in a Cap Sun vibe feeling, which we can feel from him as well. So it goes from went from being a Libra feeling with his sun over in 7th to sun being in 10th in work over now by part of fortune, which is working in this case as a Jupiter. So Jupiter is expanding, the self is expanding, and again, we know we spoke about the overload of information that Mercury gets, which is considered in Jyotish Buddha. So Buddha is overwhelmed, and also because Mercury is overwhelmed by his father Kronos, by evil Kronos is too much information, ass placement. And with that direct conjunction, see, the opposite of the way he looks. That is, Mercury retrograde makes perfect sense to me. Because he just be saying shit just like, and there's videos that have started to pop up around the internet that have made me laugh. Videos that are like, please never give this man media training.
And I think I need more media training. They're trying to wrangle me in. I was leashed just off camera and my collar's waiting for me.
And especially with Uranus there, because higher mind of Uranus, Kronos, and lower mind of Mercury, it's too much information. I've said this before. And you have to remember the sun is a light malefic. So everything that comes close to the sun starts to come into combustion, which means that the effectiveness of these planets also starts to get fuggy. That twin bitches hopping up a jet ski. It goes double for these placements and just in the wide world of work. And you got to remember, Aquarius is that's that best friendship. That's that symbiosis. It's like Gemini on steroids, right? That placement, because across the way is Leo. Player, play. All Leo wanted to do is play. The ones that I want to point out, some things that pointed out why this worked. We have here Pluto with Chiron and Lilith in the 5th house of partnerships and short-term engagements and fun. Pluto in Sag, exploration through a short-term engagement, upheaval them and change their lives forever. And look how the placements, and again, I want to point this out. Yes, these natal placements by themselves tell a story. Yes. But often when you put the two charts together, you can see how much you are very much having, I was a math major, so I like to make, I know you're going to hate me. You're going to hate me. I'm going to make a math reference. A plus B equals C. Don't die. You'll be fine. With one chart, we tend to have A, and then we're guessing at C, right? But in reality, when you have the B, in this case, like you do, it can very much tell you how it became C. Does that make sense? How Pluto here, because they're on top of each other and in such close conjunction, and with Chiron and with Lilith in the house of short-term engagements, very, very energetically close to this Mars placement, giving very much how a hookup or a wound between the two of them ended up blowing them into the spotlight. Like, for example, playing these wounded figures, these sports figures, Mars, a wounded sports figure. Okay, a wounded sports figure tied in a great blue sextile to all of these arts and work placements. Thank you. And their case not all that different. So now the ascendancy is in Gemini, okay, which is actually Taurus. So we guessed it would be, I thought he looked like a Cancer. Now I see, okay, fine. So he's actually a Taurus ascendant because it would be Jyotish Taurus. You'll see because it's Rohini. But it is traditional Western Gemini rising. So he's actually a Gemini rising, an Aquarius sun like we predicted, and a Scorpio moon as predicted. Lovely. Now we see that the Mars placement has moved slightly over, but is now still anaretic Mars, 29-degree Mars over there, and is still in conjunction, same sign range to Scorpio. So same things apply. Now, when they met each other, we considered, because before Uranus was on the descendancy, we thought it would be a sudden change. Guess what? Now Pluto's on the descendancy. So same thing applies. A gasp moment, a sudden obsession now. So now instead of Uranus being like a sudden, we get Pluto, which is sudden obsession. And ironically, it's from the wide world. It's foreign. Sag is foreign is Guru. There's Guru again, second Guru indicator with, and by Guru, I mean Jupiter, and Chiron here. So this wounding obsession tie, almost immediate, especially with Chiron also in 7th house, with Lilith there too. So yeah, now all in the partnership house. And we've said before, I said in the previous video about how intense. This indicates to me very intense, but is eased again by all of these lovely placements, which, as we know, all they did was shift over. We now have a much clearer understanding also of the moon placement. So all of that is sextile, both of the, so Hudson's sun is sextiled by these placements, and Connor's moon is sextiled by these placements predicted. I tied giantly, oh my God, to these. Okay, and they both have here, Saturn, oh my God, Saturn, Jupiter. So Saturn Jupiter is tough. That's a rough placement. I can see why it took them this long for both of them to get big. Because even though this is in the 10th house, great, fabulous place to have Saturn and Jupiter. Great place to have Saturn and Jupiter in the house of work and the higher realms of work. Also with part of fortune, which also is like Jupiter. So it's basically like Jupiter in the house of work with Saturn, which means longevity, but also can mean public disgrace. I'm a little concerned about what could happen in the future regarding these placements, because you got to remember this is not just for this job. Again, here we see, I wanted to point out now in this case how Jupiter, Saturn can create many boundaries. Now, Jupiter, guru in Vedic astrology, Zeus in modern astrology, they are the great benefics, yes. However, they also are the great expanders. Okay, you got to remember, Zeus was a cheater. Guru will give you multiple of things that it's near. Now, with Saturn there, that's boundaries and lessons. Jupiter, Saturn, many boundaries and lessons. And especially, but can also point out in the Saturn return, things going really, really well. You blowing up beyond belief in the Saturn return. And I want to look and see. And they have Saturn a little later. So I think that because they're so young, I thought the other thing was like so crazy is they're like young as hell, which is why I'm like, oh, I don't want to do more, because they're too young for a lot of these to have matured. A lot of these placements to have matured. So I'm just not touching certain things. Like, for example, I think they're going to blow up during their Saturn returns in a way they could have never expected. But I also think more money, more problems, because Jupiter or Saturn, while it can give blessings, it's like, okay, ready? I call that placement the sugar daddy placement. Okay, it really is the sugar daddy placement, because it's like, okay, you can have a little, like you go to sugar daddy when you know you need $100, so you get the $100. The sugar daddy will give you the $100 that you need, but what you got to do for sugar daddy, that's your business. You know what I mean? Sugar mommy placement, and very much should be sugar mommy actually, because Saturn is considered to be potentially feminine. But even though Zeus is there, so it's like feminine masculine together, ironic placements. So they both have this feminine masculine together, that because also Jupiter is traditionally the husband in females' charts. So Saturn with it, I imagine they are. First of all, I imagine they are both low-key drawn to older men. Second of all, if they were drawn to older figures, it would be like that, especially in Taurus. So hot older figures, like nurturing older figures. Yeah. But in Jyotish, here is actually the DK, which is a Datakataka, which means the husband indicator in a person's chart, or wife indicator, can be indicative of either. So in this case, this activation that we spoke about also is indicating in Hudson's chart. This is but also creates like many boundaries, or can create a feminine husband or a daddy husband. I don't know, Diva, your business is your business. So expansion of fame, multiple fame, bigger fame, harsher fame, which I also think overcame the boundaries of these placements, which are conjunct. So the boundaries, and I also think that part of it is a many boundaries thing. I think that also had to do with the fact that, and look, with a weird tie and in green, a weird tie to work. I think that had to do partially also with how much the two of them had to like work out, bulk, and learn for this role. Like fluent, practically almost fluent sounding Russian, scary fluent. And
yeah, I mean, that was the craziest part for me to play. Everyone always talks about the Russian, but the jockness of it all. I mean, like these guys in the NHL, they had been skating since they were like 3 years old. So for Hudson and I to show up with like 2 weeks of skating training and being like, and just kind of want to
like, I fully just assumed they had found a Russian-speaking actor for this part. That is not what happened.
No.
Yeah. Did you have any head start on Russian?
So when I was in high school, I spent my junior year in France, and I've always loved languages. Like I think if I wasn't an actor or filmmaker, I would definitely want to somehow commit myself to linguistics, but. So I tried learning the Russian alphabet. I got super into like Russian rap and stuff, but Russian is so impossibly difficult to learn.
So it sounds like Russian was easier for you than the skating. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was easier I mean, the skating is just, it's impossible.
Right.
You know, like again, like I could do it every single day for 10 years and I would never be anywhere close to that. The Russian was a little bit more immediate and was a little bit more a part of the show for me. Yeah, so I mean, I did like 4-hour sessions of Russian every day for like a month and a half.
And not only
Shout out to Katya Yabunovsky.
Fluent, practically almost fluent sounding Russian, scary fluent. And I specialize in accents, so his accent scared the shit out of me because it was so real. And he gives this incredible like 4-minute monologue in full Russian. And he mentioned in an interview that he spent hours a day training with his Russian teacher, like 4 hours or something, 3 to 4 hours for a month. And that's very much what this is. Like, you have money, you have this situation, but also you're building towards something. You've got to build towards something. The boundary is like, it's a little bit at a time. Do you see what I'm trying to say to you? It's giving you a little bit, it's giving you the blessings small at a time. It's like if you won the lottery, but the lottery was $1,000 a day. Okay, does that make sense? It's a limit. It is rationing your luck for you, and usually in a way that can be quite good. Now, it can make you feel a lot of times that you're like, I'm not lucky. I'm literally an unlucky person, like kill me. But in this case, it actually was an indicator of them blowing up right around their Saturn return, and I think they will continue to do bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more and more. They will continue to play other roles. Let's take a look. Well, we spoke about work being the reason for the other structured things that they had to learn. We spoke a bit about the team exercises, and we spoke about the bodybuilding, obviously. That all goes double, and now is just in the 12th house of hidden and confined spaces. But this is not just this project. We have to remember that there is obviously an indicator here now of some fortune in the height of fortune house, 12th house, which is because it's Pisces. It loves to be there. It loves, now it's powered in this chart. Both of them have this powered placement in hidden and confined spaces. And I've said multiple times that this is also the film house, because it rules cameras, hidden and confined spaces, cameras. I don't want to say fetish content, but point being that these placements go now into this workhouse, super workhouse placement. Everything I said before about these indicators is still true and are all still tied. Now, this also is an indicator to me of why it ended up being foreign languages, because before it's still throat, it's still tongue, it's still languages indicator, Taurus. Now it's in the 12th house, foreign. That's the other thing, foreign. So many foreign indicators here, foreign. Powered here. It's so much of this exact project. And remember, I spoke a little bit about how two people together can create, it's like you and I collide. I love singing that song because it's the best indicator of this, that someone else can unlock your destiny by bringing extra power to certain placements. These are very powering placements. They just activate each other's fortune further, especially in this house where in Taurus, which is possessions, love, beauty, money. Venus loves money. Money. These are money indicators. So these aspects of now 10th house of work, so greater house of work, with 11th house conjunction with Mars, so you falling in love with a foreigner, literally a foreigner from the wide world. And often people, some astrologers believe Venus in 11th and Venus in 12th is powered. Believe the placements of Venus in 7th, in 11th, and 12th are considered the really present placement, and first, obviously, but for a spouse indicator, for attracting foreign spouse, attracting relevant spouse, attracting known spouse, you want them in 7th, 11th, 12th, because 12th is foreigner, 11th is often powered, like can be celebrity, and 7th puts Venus in Venus's house, so present. A present partner can be stubborn too, but is there for you, So these indicators here to me of all this 7th, 11th, 12th lining up in these very comptroller placements with his Venus, right, with his Venus light leading here, because that's what's controlling these placements is Venus on the MC with light cameras, Neptune, there it is. I said it on the MC makes him almost look holier, makes Hudson become holy looking in the public eye because of this conjunction C, this holy conjunction C, this can do no wrong placement, but also indicates why they're seen as so chaotic and internet relevant. There they are, right? The sun conjunction C. I told you before, this is a black hole. And now that it's just in the wide world houses of luck, of luck and of fortune and work, and the ninth house and his 9th house of gurus, same thing. So same thing, just moved over. So this position here now of 9th house love is a guide, a light leader, a friend, a best friend, closer than kin. And also indicates with MC here why he ended up getting selected, because it's tying all of these. This red square here, I said before, I think it's because Connor had to audition for Hudson. And I want to include in this video too some videos of me walking around New York so you can get a vibe of what it might feel like to be like an actor and have to go traverse things to go be seen by agencies, to go where you need to go. Like, I deal with people every day, and these things every day is crazy. So in the 12th house of the hidden and confined spaces, having fortune, there's also obviously this is a bed indicator. 12th house is the bed fortune. So what that says about also, because in own house, what that says about Hudson, I plead the fifth. If I'm being real with you, a lot of these placements just feel as though they moved into even more powered positions. These two legitimately, with all due respect, they got along like twins. And I understand how that feels, because when you are locked into a situation like this and you find someone who emotionally, when you're on a contract, speaks your language, fits your vibe, understands you empathetically, and you can have these open conversations with, and they don't think you're weird. They respond to you. I had that recently on a contract I just got off of. I'd made a new friend, and go to work early, and so would she. And then we would just end up being in the dressing room together and striking up conversations and having plain open conversations. And like before we knew it, we were having these like beautiful, open, intimate conversations, that it was affecting obviously how strong the work was on stage in front of other people, the comfortability, because of course it does, of course it does, of course it does. So they struck gold in a lot of ways with this relationship, because you found someone who, with all these Capricornian placements too, like Aquarius and Pisces, the way that they made room for each other for the new world, they're a little strange. It's funny, as dry as he appears, combination of those Pisces, Cancer, Aquarius, like, and then Sagittarius and Capricorn energies, the familiarity with each other, it's a bit like meeting someone who is a lot like you, who is a twin flame. This is what I imagine a real twin flame partnership feels like in a lot of ways. Especially because it's a work twin flame. Hudson would have recognized Connor and the importance of Connor's presence in his life almost immediately. Because look at that, Sun conjunction Uranus, shook baby, shook diva. Aquarius, Capricorn placements, and then Pisces. So this work, arts, love theme, and then the pushing nonconformity because gay and sports stars. And even the way the story was told is like flashback and strange, is like cut up all over the place. So these two would be the perfect fit for a job like that. Now, with Ketu there, that makes me believe that eventually, because this is all playing out in a way that's giving like past life love, like you two have known each other from past life, for sure, Diva. But with Ketu here, it's giving that Connor will break away. I mean, obviously, this is very much giving, with Ketu there in the 6th house of work, Ketu Venus, I explained in my Christy Sarah video with Desmond, is past life love. Okay, that's love and nonconformity and higher realms. I also imagine Connor is quite spiritual, secretly incredibly spiritual. Probably might even be an astrologer. Hi Diva, if you're here, hi Diva. With Ketu there, I imagine that's the South Node, as we know, the bottom of the dragon, the back of the dragon, the pole of the dragon, the other head of the dragon, depending on how I talk about it or look about it. With Ketu there, this is still playing out to some extent that their partnership is their youth. This is still in their charts portraying them as if this is like a relationship from their youth. This is still youthful energy. Like maybe they met each other. I mean, they're only like 24 and 25, which is so crazy. Usually someone's North Node in 12th house can either be like a very spiritual, wonderful love. Rahu goes clockwise, actually. So it would be here at the 28th degree. So again, we're getting that Cancer element. It might even be, yeah, 2nd degree, which is that fame degree. So continuously getting more and more famous, both of them breaking away and also on ascendant helps build him. Definitely the point was to help build Hudson before he left. I don't have the ascendancy for Connor, so I couldn't say, but with this North Node in the 12th house, that's hidden in confined spaces. Oh, I guess that could also be, in this case, could play out to be cameras, could be behind the scenes, like being filmed. That makes sense. But also in the future could relate to an estrangement, could end up being like he moves away from him, like goes elsewhere. Moon in the 3rd house of friends and close associates and relatives for him in Libra. So this super egalitarian, equal, pretty boy energy, pretty boy. And ironically, I see Moon Scorpio, which is usually a sign to me of a mother wound, or that your mother was too intense. Something there with the mother situation or the family. And then Mars there, so very intense mommy. Aries mother, double Mars mom. So he has also then Mars Pluto in his own chart. Again, I don't want to know how these play out in the future about like what that means for him. North Node Rahu being what we need to head toward, what the ultimate goal is, where the ultimate direction will head. We considered in this placement, I wondered if that was going to be a bad sign, like they would eventually end up moving overseas from each other or apart, like working on different projects, like heading back into the fame wide world. But we now see, I'm going to shift in a moment, new and updated, bow! We now see that it moves into a closer house, a much closer house. Lovely, a lovely placement. Now, having this Sun in 10th is intense, and a Moon in 6th is indicators of a past life upbringing being very difficult on him. Yes, of course, and hidden, and again, these anger issues. But now that it's moving from 4th, we saw Mars move from 4th into 6th house. That's definitely more day-to-day passions. That is definitely more an indicator of, especially over here all the way, because in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, because it would be pretty much on the line of the partner. So some aspects here of expectancy from the partner being very present in the partnership relationship, the future partnership, and masculine. There's a lot of good here still. So now we just indicate the last aspect is this Rahu moved. So Rahu moved now in own chart into the 2nd, which is a self money making placement. So now it's really great love. So it moved from the 11th house of the wide realms on the edge, where we believe it to be a fame indicator, over here to the 2nd house, which is actually just a moneymaker indicator. Connor, that was Hudson. For Connor, he moves into the Sun house, which I think I really believe is an indicator of him for self, because this aspect here of this manic pixie dream girl element, this North Node in Leo, is the development of the Sun and self, which now this Sun is over here in the wide realms. So helping assist, all of this is helping assist a greater cause across the way, ironically, but out of the view of each other, out of view, it would be like here. And with North Node by the others I see, they do feel like home and family. So that's an indicator of with Connor, even though he's developing himself, he remains in Hudson's local community. This is also a sibling indicator. So an aspect here of actually staying close in the future. Look how close the North Nodes are. Something lovely there, actually, especially with it by the IC, where we believe before was the ascendancy, helping him develop himself. In this case, it's helping him develop his most internal self, his home, his family, his possessions, and local communities, people they both know, helping expand the community of people that they both get. And isn't it true? Because since I saw you last, they opened the Olympics.
Not Johnny Weir saying this is playing to my heated rivalry roots as I'm editing this.
Ooh, anoretic degree Scorpio Mars. I didn't even realize that. That's 29th degree, baby. That's Leo. So definitely performative, definitely present, definitely out and about in the higher realms and to be seen, because that's very known Mars, which is kind of like, ooh, that much energy can make you very, very, very intense. And in Scorpio, vengeful, intense, secretive, good at keeping secrets. And also Moon Scorpio, I have now spoken to about 10 different people with that placement, and that is intrusive thoughts. I don't make that up. You all have it. Don't get mad at me. I can hear the Scorpio moons booing and getting upset because you're like, how do you know that? I know these things. I have so many Scorpio moons in my life, or did before you guys all go crazy all at the same time. And so all of you have these intrusive thoughts issues. So that with the mother and Mars also leads me to believe that that's also partially, and I have to imagine it's tied to his Mercury, because he just be saying shit. He just be saying some shit.
Is this what this is doing to people?
Yep. There it is. There it is. There it is. It's all conjunction. This all is square the moon. Right there. To those placements. Because he says whatever. He says anything. I've been watching some interviews with him and I'm like, bro, what? Huh?
Reclining your seat on an airplane. Yeah, I don't give a I'm reclining my seat and your knees can eat it.
What part of your character do you relate to? The pain?
Huh? Like his real self, and no wonder it's retrograde, because I feel like he doesn't look like that at all. He looks completely different than how he is, and you have to remember that about this person.
It's running rampant with these apps and the amount of feeding into it I can do.
I need to fix this. I'm a vain person. I have no depth. I have no real world value besides my aesthetic beauty.
This gives very much like John Mulaney vibes to me. Like this very kind of like square, very normal, relaxed look, appearance, Cancerian appearance about him. That is why how he played that character so fantastically, because that character was so deadpan, dead face. This character accused him of being boring every 30 seconds. I mentioned that this guy looked he reminded me of John Mulaney. And remember now, the thing that made me laugh about this is that John Mulaney, pretty sure is like a Virgo, like he has this very, very Virgo placement. I'll double check to make sure. But that to me is a Mercury element, right? Because I made that comment, and guess what? Now he has a Western Mercury rising. And since I said that, I know I'm not the only one who thought that, because I started seeing videos pop up like,
for how I should be treated as a human being. You can do anything to me. I was just like a young Motown singer. I was just shiny and dumb and easy to trick. I didn't drink water the entire time. His booty is real. Now I've thrown him off his rhythm. I am damp all the time. I am damp now, and I will be damp later.
I know you agree with me. I know you agree with me. Connor could end up marrying someone from very, very far away, someone totally different to him. I don't know. He was born in what, Odessa, Texas or something, right? He could end up marrying like a total foreigner, different age, different ethnicity, different background from a different place. That's usually what Ketu Venus ends up playing out as. Blue to the North Node. Look at that. All in a perfect trine placements. Mercury to be seen, filming, and then the sun, the presence of him. So all of these things ended up helping Hudson get to his future. Now let's see personal for Connor. Square his personal North Node, so his future is square, also square personal fortune. So it's an explosion of the future. I think that's going to play out in the future about what we find out about Connor. I don't know that we're there yet, but partially it involves with these squares. It involves part of the story is getting famous so that other things can occur. That seems to be what's going to happen. Like the answer is famous now, and then the point later. The point is not getting famous like it is for Hudson, because that's 11th house. The point is, unless, I mean, I don't have rising, so I couldn't exactly say, but in here it really appears like the point is not necessarily that. The point is something different, because we have Leo here. So the point is developing the sun itself, and the job is a means to an end. The fame is a means to an end. Does that make sense? I think it does. Now, I've made this look disgusting. You hate me. So just because I have a fresh one. I know I'm awesome. And in this one, I now put Connor in the middle, so you can get a bit of a flip. You feel like you get something different. Do my eyebrows. So again, I was saying before, the expansion of these boundaries and latent joy. I think the two of these, when they reach their Saturn return, by the time they reach their Saturn return, they are going to have so many blessings that they are able to really share with other people, like so many more roles, so many more opportunities, more accents, more things. That could also be what Ketu Venus is here with Neptune, is like, that's accents, performances from other places, Ketu, other places. And then Neptune Lilith helps him do that breakaway energy, makes him look more like he would be a breakaway star and sexy. I'm going to include videos of him being a sexy Russian. I feel good about that. Now, I would like to include here at this point some videos about their placements in the Nakshastra. So now we're looking at the D1. These are considered the D1 placements. We have he's and Connor. And hopefully at this point, now I will edit in some videos potentially from Claire Nocti about this Danishta.
How can we be rich, famous, and gorgeous? This is the life lesson we'll learn from the 21st star of Vedic astrology, Danishta, a desirable object.
Is there a zodiac sign that produces an abnormally high amount of bombshell beauties? Yes, this is the Capricorn Aquarius cusp nakshatra in sidereal Vedic astrology, Dhanishta. Dhanishta's long, moody, downturned lips with a noticeably longer upper lip is a key feature to look for. The face appears slightly loose or relaxed to the sides of the mouth corners, giving a naturally pouty and sensual expression. Dhanishta noses tend to be small, upturned, and sloping. They most often have a triangular face shape, meaning the most width at the jawline, and with a squared chin.
And Shada Bishop, Sun Moon placements.
Is there a zodiac sign that gives you an Aries, Svelte, Audrey Hepburn charm? Yes, this is the Shatabisha Nakshastra portion of Aquarius in Vedic astrology. It's the only nakshastra ruled by two air planets, Saturn and Rahu, the mesmerizing north node. For me, a key feature for guessing this nakshastra is the unique placement and proportions of the nose and eyes. While all Rahu-ruled nakshatras increase eye size, Shatabishas are more rounded in shape and upturned, giving the touch of an impish or elfin look. The Shatabisha nose is distinct. It projects from lower on the face than average, often with an emphasized low septum in comparison to the general slight upturn of the squared nose tip. The frequently de-emphasized upper lip and the smaller square jaw also grants more attention to the striking mid-face area. The beauty of these women is often described with airy word choices that imply she might blow away, as the height of the bodiless floating head Rahu. You have the pug pretty zodiac sign. This is the middle portion of Taurus in Vedic astrology, Rohini Nakshatra. Women with Rohini as sun, moon, or the ascendant tend to have a pug puppy-like prettiness, with generally medium to large wide-set eyes, which are frequently rounded in shape and also tend to protrude slightly. Rohini's face is typically a rounded square or rectangular shape, with a strong, short jaw with a low gonial angle and a squared and flat chin. Rohini's cheekbones are generally medium to large in size, giving a natural contour definition to the cheeks. The angular lower face structure contrasts the rounded softness of Rohini's eyes.
Svati moon and Hasta moon. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about their double Jesta Chiron. Connor, by the way, you need to be aware of crazy psycho fans. This is my warning to you now. So Jesta literally rules over fan behavior and people that want to either be you or have you so bad that they become obsessive stalkers. Think about the Cassie-Maddie dynamic from Euphoria. Think about All About Eve. Think about Saltburn, the talented Mr. Ripley. That's another good example. Jesta rules over all those placements. And with Pluto here, it's like transformation. You know who has that placement? Natally, these placements belong to people like Donald Trump, Taylor Swift, Andrew Tate, people that have very, very aggressive, all or nothing divisive fan bases. So with Pluto here, it's like upheaval in these things, suddenly becoming so famous beyond, suddenly losing all boundaries because other people want to be, they need you. It's obsessive. It's that fan behavior that you see sometimes for people like K-pop idols. They all have these kinds of placements, these Jesta placements. And then he has Chiron and Jesta. I would say be very careful about, this is like doxing, people finding your information, getting too obsessed with you, getting too in your business, getting things like that. Those are always things that I would be careful of, making sure that you keep your private life really private. Here's the new D1. Yay. Yay. We now see Rohini rising over here in Taurus. All the other placements that we found are still accurate. A North Node in Pusha indicates a future of true beauty, becoming a real beauty icon and a mother vibe over time. So there's going to be something interesting as that develops. Ardra is the storm god. So I am also interested to see what that does. I am very curious to know what that becomes. And I looked a little bit as an addendum because as a Lo Siento, I'm sorry, mea culpa, about last time getting the times wrong. So I've decided to incorporate a little bit of the D9 just because, and without getting too close, as I mentioned before, everything I said before still applies because they are actors. We do not have that much of a right to their personal life, but I just thought, because I got so many questions about it, I would incorporate just a little touch of what I believe to happen. So we look at the D1. Here's the natal, right? That's the natal in Vedic, right? And we have it in whole sign because I can hear you scream. I can hear you screaming. Here it is. Here it is in whole sign. Because so many people believe whole sign is more accurate. So let's look at whole sign. So we can see, I just wanted to peep that right now the 6th house of enemies is being indicated by Venus, personal Venus. Personal Venus is over here in the wide world house placement. So this is also a higher realm, other celebrities, other folks you come into contact with. So this kind of placement says to me that and these Pisces placements too, so that you always have to wonder with Uttara Bhadrapada, it's these rags to riches story placements because Uttara Bhadrapada is often understood. I always do that. It's often understood to be a Cinderella placement. So his Venus is there, which indicates that that's what he will eventually end up taking on, is someone who's quite Cinderella-ish in the future if he was to pick a woman, if he was to pick a man. And of course, I usually believe there's a little bit of a mix of both. I mean, they directly agree. Or no, sorry, that was Pluto. But it's with descendancy. So descendancy is tied with Jesta to this placement. So, but with Mars right here too in conjunction period, I have no choice but to imagine this is it too, which is a healer. Anharada is a healer. A very, very pretty placement, but Pluto and Jesta has to do with psycho fans. You got to watch that upheaval of psychopaths, especially on ascendancy. That's people who believe they can be your partner. That's people in the future who believe they have a, what do they call it? The one side? No, it's like with celebrities. What do you call that thing? Yeah, this is a lovely placement. This is usually someone that has worked their way up from nothing, rags to riches, and only by their kindness and sweetness, they have made their way to the top. But with Pisces here, it always makes me wonder too if it's a too many wishes indicator. This is somebody who would want someone who's super well-rounded, so well-rounded. It's a, I don't know how she does it, ass placement. And from the wide world, so another celebrity, I imagine that's. Uh-oh, I'm scared. I'm kind of like, do I say this? Finds love among a fan, finds love from a fan. Maybe the key is this. It's in the 11th house. Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. If the key is this, it might be someone who is a fan among their circles of the Hollywood wide realms. Does that make sense? 11th house can also be a foreigner too. So if you're Canadian, this can indicate like, let's say, see, don't get too excited. See, this is like, ready? This is like meeting a Victoria's Secret model, okay, who worked her way up from nothing or something, or another actor from like England, let's say. You know what I mean? Or something. I don't, what would Pisces be indicative of? What's a Piscean country? I'd have to look up. I'm going to put here. Pisces countries. Pisces countries. I think it's funny that Mars is here in Anahata, which is also scorpionic, because there is a level of indicator here, being attracted to obsessive types and workaholic, obsessive pretty types. Pretty types. Does that sound like anyone we know? Does that sound like anyone we know? So it just feels like they are a good match. It's like, you know, I'm going to say something controversial. I'm going to say something controversial. I always say, you're like, you only say controversial shit. Okay. So I'm going to say one more. So ready? This is like, okay, I'm going to say something. Ready? Okay. You know, if you held a pew pew to my head and you said, okay, I'm gonna pew pew all your friends, or you have to go down on them, what would you choose? I'd be like, unzip your pants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm evil Chitra. I'm evil Chitra now. Seen somewhere, and look, I see Pusha. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. I see Pusha, and his North Node is in Pusha. Right. So I think that actually there's a world where the two of them grow together, continue to get closer together. Oh, and wait, this is the D1, right? I wanted to look at the D9. Yeah, don't get too excited. It's the Navamsa, which refers to the chart that activates after marriage. Some people say. Some people also say it happens as you grow up. You start to see these themes develop over time because it comes into full power around like 32, 33, something like that. Now, fascinatingly, his North Node of where he needs to go is in Ardra in the second house. By his marriage, ascendancy is in Ardra. He has conquered by marriage what the sense is. He's already beginning to show it. He's already beginning to represent. And some people, listen, I can hear you screaming. Some people online believe that the nakshastras do not matter in the D9. I would argue, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. In fact, I don't understand why people could myopically all of a sudden be like, yeah, you know what? When the dimension shift changes, when we split it down into smaller parts and then overlay it, it absolutely doesn't mean anything. That I don't understand that, because I'll give you an example. In my D9 chart, my rising is this Uttara Bhadrapada placement, and Claire Nocti in her video directly links it to Spirited Away.
No problem. Both conceived of and written by Uttara Vajrapada natives Hayao Miyazaki and Lauren Weisberger. I quote the article, "In both tales, the false mother characters of Yubaba and Miranda Priestley inflict virtual enslavement while the young maiden protagonists must attempt to prove their goodness through industry."
Oh, good morning, Miranda. Hey, Isaac. I don't see my breakfast here. Are my eggs here? Where are my eggs? Excuse me. Pick up the Polaroids from the lingerie shoot.
In order to ultimately achieve independence from the wicked stepmother. In Spirited Away, the young girl Chihiro is placed under Yubaba's employment.
I'll give you the most difficult job I've got, and work you until you breathe your very last breath.
And of a sudden, it seemed to her that her stepmother and stepsisters had indeed transformed her into merely a creature of ash and toil.
This is of course the same in Cinderella, who's given such a name to mock her inferior status and relegation to servitude.
Wouldn't you prefer to eat when all the work is done, Ella? Or should I say Cinderella?
The name from his mother's wrath. He instructs Psyche that she can never look at him, which she obeys, but eventually she's urged by her scheming sisters to betray him and to take a peek. When she does, he runs off to Aphrodite, grieving her betrayal. Psyche is left in despair. Seeking to prove her love to Eros and win him back, she prays to Aphrodite. Aphrodite has correlations to Rohini and Purvashada, the height of Venus, which I've explored in depth before. The goddess now makes Psyche face 4 trials. The first is to sort a huge amount of seeds, like Purvashada's winnowing basket symbol, signifying separating the wheat from the chaff, a test of discernment and discrimination, with links to what a woman will be willing to open up to and what she will have the strength to reject. She is assisted by an empathetic ant colony to sort these quickly.
Let's see what you'll do next.
Her next task was to gather wool from a dangerous sheep, in which case a river god helps her to collect pieces of wool instead from the bushes.
Mom, Dad, I got a gift from the river spirit.
She continues through 2 more trials, during the last in which she dies. But her love Eros, who has now forgiven her, saves her life and takes her to Olympus. Like Cinderella's scale from servant to princess, Psyche makes this momentous climb through her strength, intelligence, and beauty from mortal to god. Spirited Away includes these same trials.
I have a Spirited Away tattoo on my body here And I got that at age 20, long before I understood what the Navamsa, the D9. I do not have an Uttara Bhadrapada placement in my own chart. I think it is silly to assess that the D9, the Navamsas suddenly don't matter. I think that's a very silly assessment. I think it actually tells more of the story of what starts to happen to the person over time. The natal chart is when you're born. That's a snapshot of when you're born. You can't change that, but the D9 is how you develop. And I think this alone is a clue. I mean, you think that everything just happens by stance, right? Everything just happens by stance. That the North Node is in Ardra in the original chart, and then by the time he hits marriage age, he is representative of exactly that. And also, the previous ascendancy now has the MC in it. So now his job is to appear the way he did before, but he is beginning to develop more of these Ardra tendencies over time. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think that with that, we can read most charts and development of most charts. Look at that. Oh, and the Mars placement, where it was in Anharada, now has Venus. And you think the Nakshastra placements in the Vamsa don't we will see, and look at this. He will begin to identify also with children. This is a children identifier placement, and Sun moves from a weakened spot into a Venusian also weakened position. So Sun ego is still weakened, but now I want to point out D9 Moon is in Shatabisha for Hudson, and if you'll look, you'll see in the D1 that's actually Connor's son. So there is an element that they have to. He is learning from him, developing more like him over time.
The constellation is ruled by the North Node Rahu. So you have Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn, but now Rahu comes into play. And the symbolism for this is about 1,000 doctors, or an empty circle. Okay, so 1,000 doctors mashed together in a circle, or an empty circle. You know, it's kind of related to the medicine man type of thing, but it's kind of there's a little misconception there. We'll clear that up. So let's figure out how these people think. So traditionally, you know, people relate this constellation to people, you know, who are medicine men, who are doctors, who are there to, you know, heal you. Okay. However, that is somewhat true, but mainly, especially nowadays, this nakshatra really becomes about problem solving. Because if you look at it logically, what does a doctor do? Doctor solves your health problem. So this nakshatra is about solving problem, and it could be any problem. You are not willing to take enough action to get to where you should be, and that's what happens. So what happens with these people? First of all, they keep everybody in their close circle. You know, so they have a little, you know, their circle or boundary, and everybody's in there, and those are the people they actually interact with. They actually tell who they really are. You know, because Aquarius people, when men and women come out very cold in terms of relationship, in terms of relating to them, because they just are always like in their own la la land, and they're all about happy-go-lucky type of thing. They always just want to, you know, have fun with life, and you feel like, man, this person is not really serious about themselves. However, their best friend has a totally different image of them, because their best friend knows, oh my God, this person is such a hard worker, and she loves family, she wants to find true love. However, the people who are on the outside of the boundary don't see that. So this is kind of like a little problem. They don't show their true self to a lot of people. You know, that's why they feel stuck. And Moon is not necessarily too happy in this nakshatra because of the fact it has the Saturn and Rahu energy in it. So, and Moon doesn't do well with these two, so they always feel stressed, and that's why they feel they have this boundary that they cannot get out of. However, these guys are very studious. They're very intelligent. Because first of all, it's an air sign. However, it's not the air sign like Gemini where the mind is just diverted into 10 different things. Saturn is a planet that focuses on one thing, and it's slow moving, so there's a lot of details that need to be taken care of in this nakshatra. And Rahu is very clever. Rahu is the planet that is controlling this particular section in Aquarius, is very clever. It just wants to, it'll do whatever it takes to sell you what you want. We have discussed this before. So these guys are, you know, actually very intelligent. They find success in their life, but sometimes, you know, depending on what Vadha it's in, I've noticed, they find success between 32 and 36. Between 32 and 36, because Saturn is a slow moving planet. And Rahu is a quick giving planet, and there's a tug of war that is happening in this nakshatra. So, but remember, Saturn is far more powerful, you know, than Rahu. So Saturn usually just lets its slow moving effect go during the early and mid 30s. You know, that's what
I can't make this up. It's here. It's here. It's here. You're yelling at me. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. I'm telling you what I'm finding. Now, Moon has moved into the Guru house, and North Node has gotten together. Oh, look at that. Fortune and Uttara Bhadrapada. So now we have, and with Rahu, so gaining fortune over time, becoming more of a husband, becoming more of this fortune energy can also be more moving around, because Guru likes to move around a lot, especially, but in 10th house, so work, more work. Now North Node moves into Revati, and Revati is the final nakshastra of the entire zodiacal wheel. Has to go through all of this to get to the end. Revati. Now Revati has to do with the liberation of souls, the final truth and end. So it just goes to show you that his final destination point after marriage will be soul's liberation. He will have done everything needed to achieve happiness in local community, and make that money. And so because that money will be made, he will be free to pursue soul's liberation, especially at work and in the greater realms. Really lovely stuff, really nice placement. And the indicators, as I said before, of the future partner, Saturn, because Amtakaraka is Mercury. So self is indicated as Mercury in this case. This is natal, by the way. And the other indicator, Sun. So this partner is going to be very much this hard worker type, and again is indicated by Uttara Bhadrapada and Anurada. So this obsessive worker, Cinderella, come up rags to riches story character who has trained themselves very difficult. When Saturn is the Gatakaraka, that means that you need a drill sergeant partner. You need someone who lay down the law kind of thing. You are flighty and childlike and love to be in that place. So in this case, the partner in this 12th house in this case, behind closed doors, so hidden, is the person that's actually like you, making the schedule, sticking to it, you not making sure you don't get too much this way or that way, because we spoke a little bit before about what we viewed in the great time to change. Asteroids, hooray! So now we see the asteroid placements have moved to the second house. So all these developing in a local home, community, self. This is body. This is also possessions, as we said. Because if the first house is the self, right? Second house develops senses, taste, ability, all those other things, right? The closest to the self. It's and when I say evil degree or things whatnot, I mean, of course, degree theory by Dr. Nikolai Stojanovic. Did I get it right this time? Did I actually manage to get it right this time? That fertility, love, and sexuality at the Leo degree on the moon. And he doesn't he look? I don't want to say what I'm going to say because that's so rude, but like the fertility, love, and sexuality being present here at the Leo degree of performance in Scorpio, which is about sex and sexuality.
There you go.
I love watching Heated Rivalry because it's the closest I'll ever get to watching an alpha and omega go at it. It's omega.
It's a little bottom boy.
No, that's a beta.
So this thing called the Omegaverse.
Yep.
The alpha's the top, the omega's the bottom, it's for dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
They've been going at it, they're going to heat.
Damn, already.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because
and other people being privy to that, like that feels like that was a hint maybe about the work that he was going to be doing also, because I think we're going to be seeing more of him in these kinds of positions. Absolutely no pun intended. Absolutely no pun intended. South Node, friggin' motherhood, nurturing, and family. Also on top of it with Nessus makes me think that he had and with that Scorpio moon makes me think he had a challenged relationship with his mother. I'm not going to say more than that, but I know that right now he's working and doing his best. Because South Node Nessus is like, oof, you came from a place of abuse and manipulation in your youth and you are breaking away from that. Yeah, and again with this independence, nonconformity, pursuit of individuality, he realized at a young age this would be very intelligent person, peacemaking, conciliation. He has all of these Libran themes riddled in his chart. Iris, messaging, signal, synchronicities, and rainbow bridges between people and realms. And ironically, also, I believe Connor had that in an important placement. So I think that that's very ironic that they're being seen as a rainbow bridge. I'm rolling with that LGBT. Karma by moon, the consequences of past actions and the lessons of cause and effect. He is someone who I believe he would say to himself, yo, I have not bad luck, but like I can't do anything bad to other people because it comes around and smacks me like twice as hard situation. Diva, I want to talk. Were you religious? Were you Catholic for me? And you broke away? I want to talk. Orcus, power, control, and transformation. Parvati, devotion, sacred partnership, inner strength, curiosity, exploration, and adventure. Also, I want you to peep all these Pisces placements. All these Pisces placements, which would be activated by the other actor, which I think is fabulous. These placements would be on the other actor's placements. Siva in the Libran degree, destruction, renewal, transformation, spiritual crisis. So all of these will be themes we'll see across his work in the future. These are themes he will be working through. But these were shown, I think, in the last piece. Luck, fortune, and success. So further activated by Connor. And also past life, luck, good fortune, and abundance. And in this life, radiance, light, and wisdom. Oh, again, a Pisces placement, healing, birth, and regeneration. So really, I'm telling you, Connor is helping him. I'm telling you, they have a very good relationship. I'm telling you, they have a very good relationship. And then also on these placements, healing, medicine, and well-being, health, and cleanliness. All of these amazing placements. And then I thought this was kind of crazy. He has a happiness wound, potentially famous happiness wound. So he might, and again, I told you about that Scorpio moon being intrusive thoughts. I could see there being a world where this actor, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to get this close to you, and this is as close as I'm going to get, a world where this actor, deep underneath it all, had a very, very difficult relationship developing the self and about self-worth and like self-darkness, because Pluto moon is very, very difficult. I myself have Pluto opposite moon, and you are forced to grow in ways you could have never anticipated because it is your spiritual self, your emotional self that must go through the most upheaval in this life.
To fix this. I'm a vain person. I have no depth. I have no real world value.
You relate to
besides
the
my
pain?
aesthetic beauty.
And so I often find that Scorpio moon placement leads to a wound in these kinds of placements, happiness, joy, and contentment. So that's something that he would be often working through. And in Saturn, which is very much representative of him, of who he is. So oftentimes I wonder if all of that weird loudness, that self that he portrays in the interviews is very different, very, very different from how he is in his deepest, darkest, most internal part of his self. I also believe that's part of the reason why him and Connor would have got along so well, is because he brought out all of these healing, wonderful energies and health. And for a first, and I have to tell you, if I blew up like this overnight as an actor, that would scare the absolute shit out of me. It would really, really, really activate my personal anxieties. So it really just goes to show you how these two have been a rock for each other through the blow up of this project. Yeah. Oh my God, look at that. Latent power surge of emotional. I can't make this up. In the Narcissus he wants to make sure that they don't get more narcissistic. Both of them have this placement, ironically. I want to make sure both of them through their life don't. Yeah, pride, arrogance. I don't want them. This is what I'm saying into it. We're getting into things in the future that I'm like, there's nothing I can say about these. I want to make sure that just because, and my last thing I'm going to say about him before I move on, because I don't want to do too much. I don't. Is sometimes when I'm drawn to that monologue from I Love LA, where one of the characters who's gay and a stylist in the show turns to the actress who's playing Mimi, the famous pop star, and turns and says,
"Just one more thing before I go. You remember the CFTAs when Marcella didn't want to dress you because dress didn't really look that good on you? And I called Delara, who also wasn't a big fan, but she did me a solid because she likes me. You were boho. I made you cunts.
and I made you come. And I really think that's a cue here of like, just because the gays made you. There's another famous show.
My mom's running around every grocery store in Seattle hiding magazines, so my 96-year-old grandmother doesn't see my dick.
Drunks, nobody's prudes.
I just don't see where this is going. It'd be one thing if I was getting auditions, but nothing's happening.
I'm sorry to bother you, but are you the absolute hunk?
Yes, he is.
Well, I just wanted to say that my friends and I are huge, huge fans. Hi.
It's working. What did I tell you?
How does those guys toasting me mean my acting career is happening?
First come the gays, then the girls, then the industry.
Once the girls love you, then everyone loves you. Then you're famous as fuck. So they're in the point where the gays love them. Now the girls are loving them. So want to make sure that they both actors don't end up in a place where they're like so big that their heads just blow out of proportion because they blew up so much in such a short amount of time. Again, Saturn, Jupiter, because then by the time that you hit the Saturn return, you're going to have your shit rocked, which you don't want that to happen. A public disgrace is the last thing that you want. So you need to make sure that you stay humble and stay righteous. That's really what these placements are pointing at.
Okay. Oh, so you think you're a hot man? You're conceited now?
Oh, that's why you said that.
Yeah, caught ya. He thinks he's hot.
All of these tweets y'all are doing are getting in my head. I'm going to start ordering, crazy stuff. I'm
going to start walking around with a printout of my headshot.
Do you love how those are our ideas of luxury? Because getting too big for our britches is, I'm going to start ordering crazy stuff for lunch. You're going to have your headshots.
Okay. Now we have Psyche on the ascendancy with some. So now we're just going to observe some house shift placements because a lot of what I said for the asteroids before, again, still applies. All the placements on top of other placements are what they are. Even if it were in different houses, it would not change what the meanings for a lot of them are, but might change dispositing ability, the way it goes about it, right? So in this version where you see a blue background, you're going to see that I am talking about the new version where we look at angles too, because now the angles are accurate, okay? So in this version, he now has Psyche on the ascendancy, which is really lovely, referring to the Psyche Aerosmith. So something there about the chosen human that is picked up to be a god, even though out of jealousy, was threatened with jealousy and instead taken up to be a god. Because the story is that Aphrodite sent Eros to eliminate Psyche, but fell in love. Pallas on the descendancy. And I believe, and that a descendancy indicating the spouse, again with Libra here. So indicating the partner also has a Pallas Athena aspect. Again, so we see that Saturn theme return. So this, and again, it's genderless. The idea is Pallas is present in both. In fact, I'm curious, was Pallas relevant? Pallas was relevant in this chart. I knew it. I remembered that. Leo with Pallas is here. So the partner, yes, there is aspects here that make it feel like this person is the partner. Yes, there's aspects here and I find that happens with people like that are best friends or very, very close. There is aspects that show that they fill out partnership indicator placements. So that's a very interesting partner indicator there. With North Node being the thing that it needs to head towards. So Pallas, yeah. Okay, is an aggravated placement. 0 with degree Eros. Again, that evil Lilith. I want to stick mostly to now placements in the home. We see that now, Boda. So some now partnership energy in the home and house, close to the hearth. Could see that that's going to be in the future for him too. Aquarius placement. So in the wide world, hearkening us to that Venus placement, right? Or the Mars. There, that tie there's present here because Boda is engagements, right? So if the engagement is in the home to this person indicated, right? Daphne and Cupid on the Venus, as we saw, could also be partnership indicated, but also indicates how he goes about his love life, right? Hecate, oh, that's a witch. Witch and magic ascendancy, so that might develop over time too. That's very interesting. That is a very interesting placement in Aquarius. So some ability might develop over time, actually. Value in this in the Saturn return, as we said before, develops. Gold on the MC now with this, so now a double indicator of films being the thing that makes him money. That's definitely there and present now. Varuna North Node, which is unconscious intuition and mysticism with that Hecate on the ascendancy. I wonder what the spiritual side to him is yet to develop. Actually, that's coming. That's coming. Industrial on the MC again with this indicator, it's film indicator. We saw that on the MC. Earn forward work. Libra partnership enterprise, intense, scorpionic, secretive. Fame on the South Node. So fame from a young life, which this is still indicating him now. There's some aspects here that indicate like this is still occurring now because this partnership between him and other actors with these and Venus and then other Pluto is here is still indicating to me an aspect of these occurring sort of nowish, or is at least indicating that this is a partnership from Connor's youth, which this actor Hudson is even younger. So this to me has to be indicating this pre-life, this all occurring, this development in the youth, in work, and then gurus aspects here. But this is indicating to me this is his own story. So his life was already structured and difficult from a young age, coming out of this place. Because you know, I had two Capricorn, because Capricorn is my problem child placement. Capricorn and Scorpio. Scorpio is where things transform. But Capricorn is where things go to die, where things go to have issue, where the issue is. And the issue here is in the 8th house of mental health. Sex, death, taxes, other people's money, and also in-laws. I imagine this is an indicator that the future in-laws are going to be problematic. And also that gurus have been, because it's indicated here too, same house. So previous teachers have been touch and go as well. So a Venus here is an easing to that placement, a lovely addendum to what would be otherwise quite intense, almost harsh placements seeking out, because this Capricorn aspect is quite, can be sarcastic and blunt, and
I'm gonna sit back with a blunt, blunt,
and direct. So these Neptune here and an Aquarius is like, let's all get along. It's okay. Like, oh, like let's just be okay. Like, second degree now famous house, right? So now the money. So now North Node is heading. It's so fine. Oh my God. It's because before we said North Node was in 11th, which was a fame indicator, and I've always said the second degree is a fame indicator. So now North Node is in the second house at the fame degree, fame indicator, which also implies that the 8th house is a fame degree, fame indicator. So with South Node being there, with Fama, the asteroid being there, and with the whole house being at the second degree, and in Capricorn, I would imagine that actually the young life was very, very intense and structured. And this is also indicating him now. So this could also be, he could be dealing with some mental health issues, of course, behind the scenes currently, or what other people's opinions of him have been. Like, I can't imagine that with a show like this blowing up, I imagine that there have been aspects, I can't imagine how your local community from that you came from might be reacting to your greater fame being what it is and how you're getting it, etc. Even though it is completely legit, nothing wrong with it. But just like a big public outing, we're seeing a little bit of this Capricorn energy here of it being very intense and troubled, and in a mental health house. Can't run from that, but indicates a healing of it in the future, being able to guide other people in much the same, going through the same thing. Truly a guru mother, truly a placement as he earns his own money and figures out his own way. He's like, I don't need your opinions, kind of thing. Now looking at the descendancy, we see Irene is there, Ixion is there, so the partner is a little chaotic as well. Niobe, these are indicators of, again, pride. Be careful of pride about how you handle your children in the future. Scorpio Sisyphus, again, trying so hard in the past, so much effort in the past. Hygeia on MC, so health, well-being, and cleanliness ends up being part of the point. Also healing, medicine, and well-being. More of that in work. We might also see that play out in work placements and also hire guru, so he'll be a guru of that. That's also the Libra degree, so the partner might be those things as well. Eagle, future, again, healing. A lot of indicators of good healing and some luck there from the past. That's nice. Devotion, spiritual crisis. I said we saw that before a little bit. Now it's on the MC. Descendancy Kesar. The partner is a spiritual boon and creative as well. The partner is going to be very intense. Now Michelangelo is on this as well with Descendancy. And and that's the partner. And you know who else has that? Michelangelo in a relevant position that they have to head towards. That's an indicator of them. I'll give you one guess. About someone we know who has that placement on their North Node. So it is literally indicating what they need to head towards and be. Right. Fascinating, isn't it? Isn't it the way these things play out? Also, his North Node has Varuna, which is a huge placement. And this is, again, Hudson I'm talking about now. So I wanted to point at that so that we all know that that's there. Varuna is one of the oldest, most prominent Vedic deities in Hindu mythology, the supreme sovereign god of the sky, cosmic order, and moral law. As the chief of the Adityas, he represents universal authority and transition to the guardian of the west and the lord of oceans and water. So I wondered if we're going to see that play out somehow in the future. I could also wonder if that's going to be like but that's in the second house, right? That's in the second house. So maybe his future home is going to be by the water or something. But these are also often, to me, these portray like characters you end up playing in the future, like if you end up playing a god of water or something. It's a very relevant placement and can also indicate like spiritual connection, sincere, intense spiritual connection. He is considered omniscient, with stars acting as his thousand eyes or spies monitoring human behavior. The heavens to the oceans, the protector of water bodies, residing in the depths of the ocean, flood and storms, and which I think is relevant because we saw he has a North Node in Ardra, which is the storm god. So why would there both be these double indicators here? Why would that both be here? Unless that was indicating something particular. So I want to look at both of those and we're going to see why. And I'm sure the future will tell all about why that is. Because that's a double hint. I can't make this shit up. And he'll go again. Right now, he's experiencing nonconformity, embracing that. So we head towards this place of Ardraism, which is fascinating. Okay, so that's all that we know that's new about him. As we know from before, this person, we don't have house placements. So everything that I said before still applies. Finally, last bit. So look at Connor's personal. He has an insane amount, and I want you to ignore ascendancy because we don't have birth times. So he has Casanova on Lilith. He's going to go through quite a few, if he has not already. Love stories with different people, whether that has to do with work love stories or if this is his personal life. He is very childlike and innocent and honestly is exploring a lot of different themes of love, is a Cupid in his own right, is an attractive Venusian type energy in his own right. Yeah, Anoretic degree Daphne, Leo degree Daphne on Sun. So he identifies with this. And Daphne, remind you, is the huntress. That's the one that goes out into the woods by herself. She leads the teams. She's also, I believe, Daphne committed herself to celibacy, but she was like the leader of a group that followed her into the night of same sex. So usually all women. So something interesting there to be about the energy that he portrays. Erato at the Leo degree of Leo on the North Node. So much sexy. The part of this point was for him to be sexy. Creativity, inspiration, and beauty. Yeah, developing more of that. He will just get better looking. Beauty, love, and harmony, talent, skill, and mastery. Enterprise. Fame at the famous degree. The second degree of fame, Industria, at the 29th degree, diligence, hard work, and industry. And guess what? That 29th degree is exactly where Hudson's Mars was. So Industria on Mars. So he gained money from pretending to fuck. Gained money from pretending to. That's insane. Hudson. Pretending. I shouldn't say pretending. I wouldn't know. Gold on Pluto. Yep. Wealth and abundance. Again, we're seeing that. We're seeing it. Power, wealth, and influence. He's going to marry someone very wealthy and rich. Transformation, wealth, and abundance on make all on these placements in Hudson's 10th house as well. So money, all these money-making placements. There it is again. And then another one on his moon. All these reward, abundance, and generosity, bounty on the Saturn return. So he's going to get even more on the Saturn return. And Felicitas in the at the Libran degree of Scorpio too. So happiness, joy, and contentment. Again, helping heal that same energy that would have been a wound, ironically, in Hudson. He has it as well. And in the Libran degree. So in partnerships, might have another famous partnership. Famous partnership. There it is again, Libran degree. No possibilities, chances, and openings. Money, opportunity. Rockefeller, more money, power, wealth, and influence. And then, I can't make these up. Just goes to show you creativity, inspiration, harmony, beauty, magic, intuition, the shadow self. And he had a wound around Apollo, creativity, inspiration, and self-expression. So the getting around too. He's going to feel better about it in the future. And Pallas North Node. He has all of these feminine qualities, feminine energy North Node. Anoretic degree, Leo degree, Pallas Athena, Leo degree. Wisdom, strategy, and creative intelligence. So he's going to become more of creative, more of a strategist, more of a mother. It's giving mother. Like as if this show is going to spawn a whole new slew of huge shows in this category. So he will be seen as a progenitor for a lot of it, because to be honest with you, although Hudson was relevant and important in the show, the person that really drives the show and where the audience can place themselves on Hudson is because everyone feels as though the person that's courting them is this actor, Connor, playing Ilya, the Lilithian, the drug doer, break off, bad mouthing, sports star who's number one. It makes perfect sense. And this Juno South Node, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. Marriage, commitment, partnerships, past life female, past life wife who helped another big figure, because Juno was Zeus's wife, obviously, and constantly they were cheating on each other and things were going on. So she was like the rock to his placement. So with a Juno South Node in own chart, that makes me believe that you understand automatically, empathetically, how to be the trophy wife. That came from a past life. You were the trophy wife already. And in this life, you need to break away from that, because that's where his Venus would be also, is on all these placements. So you need to break away from that and instead go further into exploration, further into developing the self, because his North Node was in Leo, if you recall correctly. So we're getting that, So we're getting that, figuring out in this life how to be the star for himself, and ironically develop creative strategy and intuition. So nurturing feminine qualities as a man, as a performer, and as a creative in the artist industry. And with that mothership placement, it makes me think that he is going to be quite a rock and maybe a source of healing for a lot of other actors, like someone you can empathetically trust, someone who is a good person, fun, collaborative, good at their job. So because he has all of these things, like they're not Nepo babies, neither of them are Nepo babies. They were picked off the planet for these jobs. So they are quite literally professional actors and so young to be so worldly wise. So he will just continue to develop those aspects. Yeah, Lilith, Mars. It's fucking, you're gonna be fucking, girl. Fucking you're gonna be doing. Definitely. Absolutely, you won't be fucking. Look at all these Lilith placements. These Lilith placements of this. He's going to continue to be this sexy character, seen as this sex symbol icon in the future. Al-Kessi, sacrifice, renunciation, selflessness. He was so selfless in a past life, and as a woman, mother, nurturing energy, that in this life he's being rewarded by God to be shown in these higher, greater realms. It also needs to develop. Ironically, it's develop selfishness further, developing further selfishness for yourself. Spirituality, spiritual crisis. I really, again, think innovation, breaking free from limitation. I think we're going to be seeing more of the spirituality aspects of him in the future. Ooh. Parthenope, seductive siren voice, artistic calling, and the dangers of enchantment on Pluto and Chiron. So that ironically, he became known for the Russian accent. So the seductive voice being the thing that he became famous for, this fake accent that he created and crafted and had to work his ass off of, despite being a French speaker. I think it's hilarious that it's showing up here. Strategic intelligence, craftiness, chronic wanting wisdom. Oh, and North Node Iris, messages, symbol, rainbow bridge. So developing more of this, and then in Libra again, so partnerships. So developing that through partnerships. So, and that was on, again, Hudson's phallus. So the phallus development, leading them both to where they need to be in the future, is so clear here. An anoretic degree peacemaker. An evil degree rambling. He might also be a rambler. He might Toro, 22nd degree killer, we kill Toro. Strength, courage, and determination. So a little bit of a bull in a china shop quality to him, maybe, that in the future that he would need to potentially work on. Like sometimes he could have a little bit of verbal diarrhea, maybe. 0th degree Michelangelo, North Node creativity. So, and he has South Node Raphael, North Node Michael, the Archangel Michael, South Node Raphael. So again, previously, in a previous life, was helped with transformation, healing, and rebirth. That's an energy he's familiar with, which makes sense. Again, on all of these placements, activating Hudson's placements, why at the Leoic degree would make sense why he was such an easing, wonderful co-star and scene partner and made Hudson feel so comfortable. And the likeness there was found. Healing and rebirth is really clear. They helped each other in this way. And but leading more towards in the future needing to develop this. The Archangel Michael was he's the avenging angel, the one that's out front, the potential leader of the angels, the one that dove down when the spirit gates of heaven closed. He's the one that opened them, went down, stole, and took all of the souls that during Jesus's, because the spiritual psychosis says, the spiritual text, discussing how when Jesus was on earth, supposedly the gates of heaven were closed, so all the souls, no one could get into heaven. They all just like boing, bounced off the gates of heaven, because that's how that works, and went to hell. So the idea is once Jesus died, the gates opened and Archangel Michael went down into the gates of hell and took the people out and saved them. So with this, oh, and look, 0 with protection, Horus, power, protection, and leadership. Mother, oh, and 0 with degree, Kali Ma, the mother, intuition and psychic abilities. This person, he has way more psychic ability than we know. There's a little bit of a sex, death, powerful transformation energy with him, that a bit of a spiritual boon he is. And I know how that feels to be a spiritual boon when you're also an actor, because it's like God wants you to play many roles in your life. It's like being sped run through your karma, because you have to do all these different things in such a quick amount of time, so it can end up making you feel 1 billion years old, even though you're a child. Oh, and South Node Icarus, risk, recklessness, and the potential for downfall on Venus, though. So he has to be careful, I would say, for the future. And evil Eris, discord, chaos, and rebellion, and destruction, recklessness. I would say the two of them should make sure that they stay away from excessive drinking or partying, and also from narcissism, especially around partnerships, famous narcissism, self-love, self-image developing, or nemesis at the Leo degree. You know, that can also be quite public, and pride. So I think the two of them, again, and Pandora. Yep, recklessness, ambition, the potential for downfall, insecurities, deep fears, and blocks on the. They need to both keep their noses clean. Otherwise, their Saturn returns will be very, very intense in a way that they won't be ready for and appreciate. All right, and that's what I have to say about these two. That's why it worked out. That's why I think it was so incredibly explosive, volatile energy, fabulousness. Meant to be that they develop each other.
Well, this is the end.
No, it's not, Squidward.
It's not?
The Redux me. As of this point, if you have sent me an email personally asking me for a reading, and your name is on this list, which by this point I'll have edited and I'll put right here. Your name is on this list in that specific order, the order that is listed, right? This is who I plan to get to through the end of February. Now, past this point, may the odds be ever in your favor. Here's my thought. I know I'm going to get to a point that I can't answer all these emails. I'm already at a point that I can't answer all these emails. And you'll notice in the old version of this video, I mentioned that I work in New York and that I work in high profile. Guess who got called back to work in their high profile environment again? And I told you I got to keep a low profile, okay? But here's my thing. I don't want to stop. No, I don't. I'm not going to stop till I get my shot. Head on it, better. Okay? My thought process is this, okay? Because I'm such a started from the bottom ass bitch. Literally, the way I have clawed my way to the top is unbelievable to me in almost everything. So I want to keep it going. So for that thought process, here's my thought. I can fit through the end of February with my other job, the rest of this list of people that have already emailed me. Thank you for being an OG. Thank you. Thank you. Specifically, thank you. Shout out. Thank you also for waiting. And if your name is on this list, I will get you. I saw your email. Don't you worry. And if you're seeing this, I will reach to you. Don't you worry. Past this point, I want it to be a free-for-all because I know there's no way to be about it. There's just no way. How am I supposed to? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So I thought there's only one fair way to do this, because the truth is all of you are going to see this video and that you're going to come from this video. And then what am I supposed to say? Here's my thought process, right? I'm going to make a Google Doc, okay? You're going to put in the Google Doc your first name, your last name, and your email. And of course, you're going to acknowledge that you're going to pay some money for the service, because the emails from people that have just sent me screenshots of their stuff is funny. And I do respond, but I don't have to. Girl, I don't know what you want me to do. You know what I mean? Like, I can't sit here and do that. I do some, but I can't do that. And past this point, if you email me this, I don't know if I'm going to even see it. You know what I mean? My thought process is this. You fill that out. And what I'm going to do, may the odds be ever in your favor, I probably over the course of, I'm going to keep it open through the end of February for March. Does that make sense? So this now opens as of the point, this doc opens as a point of this video opens, okay? This doc opens. As of the last day in February, the doc closes. And at that point, I will pull lots using a spinning wheel. I will even probably record some video of me doing it. It'll probably be really fun. I feel like that'll be really cutesy, really fun, really. And I think a fair way, in my humble opinion, because I'm like, damn, like there's gotta be a fair way to get to everybody, like, or at least try, you know what I mean? And then, so I figured that the lottery system is the best way, because you know what? I can pull multiples. Like, so for example, I can pull anywhere from like 1 to 20. I might get anywhere from 1 to 20 or more, you know, over the course of the month, depending on what my workload is in person, because I gotta pay rent, okay? Okay, I gotta pay rent. And I'm trying to keep this affordable for y'all, so I can't just do this right now where I'm at, because I want to see people. So the price point is not high enough for me to afford to live without working. Me culpa.